Hello, gracefully chosen community, and welcome to Foster My Stories, the achievement focused podcast for foster care, adoption, orphan, inclusive of underserved communities. I'm your host, Shalina Michelle Tate, and on today's Relate to You, I'm going to be highlighting gracefully chosen content you and your family can enjoy and relate to, inclusive of the foster, adoption, orphan, or underserved communities. To celebrate underserved communities, I would like to highlight a collection of movies that aspire to meet students and youth regardless of culture or living situation. Some of the countless movies include Stand and Deliver from 1988, stars Edward James Olmos, who plays the real life teacher Jamie Escalante, a Los Angeles teacher who inspires his underachieving students to learn calculus to boost their self esteem. Now, of course, he became a phenomenal teacher. He helped his students, but unfortunately, he was accused of cheating. And this is based off the real life story of Jamie Escalante, who basically helped these students to push beyond their means. This movie is oldie but goodie, as you may feel or know. Math is a hard subject, but this is a dynamic movie. I've seen it a few times myself. The next movie is very famous, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people may have seen this movie or at least have heard of this movie, called Lean on Me. Came out the next year in 1989. It stars Morgan Freeman, who is in basically almost everything you can imagine. He is the dedicated but tyrannical Joe Clark, who was appointed the principal of a decaying inner city school, but he's determined to improve that school by all means. Relatives grew up in the 80s. They know this movie, Lean on Me. The next movie, Coach Carter, another movie that I feel a lot of people may know of or have seen, starring Samuel L. Jackson. It came out in 2005, and much like Lean on Me and Stand and Deliver, Coach Carter is one of those in-your-face performances that basically meet the students and or youth right where they are, no matter their cultural or environmental upbringing. 2007 brought us two dynamic movies. You have Freedom Riders, starring Hilary Swank, who plays real-life teacher Erin Gruwell, who basically empowers her freshman English class at Woodrow Wilson High School in Long Beach, California. She became such a dynamic teacher to the point where these students, many of them went on to become teachers themselves. So most of these situations in these movies reflect on teen and real-life situations, especially coming from underserved communities. Once again, the same year brought us The Great Debaters with Denzel Washington as Professor Melvin B. Tolson of Wiley College in Texas. The setting in 1930s formed a debate team which basically had to deal with prejudice and challenges to face off with Harvard. Dynamic film, once again, collection of movies I feel kind of encourages students and or youth right where they are. So these may seem similar in the fact that they're in a classroom setting, but the message really, they're trying to meet the youth right where they are. Once again, Stand and Deliver of 1988, starring Lou Diamond Phillips, who I had a crush on. I'm not going to lie. He plays one of the students in Stand and Deliver. Then you have Lean on Me, starring Morgan Freeman, who plays in just about everything, especially a lot of voiceover work. Then you have Coach Carter, Samuel Jackson. Of course, his name probably sounds familiar because he plays now in a lot of Marvel films. And Coach Carter, he basically is surrounded by controversy because he benches the entire team for breaking their academic contract with him. So in other words, he wants them to do what they're supposed to and not just come and play ball. Then you have Freedom Riders, Hilary Swank. She's basically not really in an environment that she's used to, but she becomes a phenomenal teacher despite her lifestyle. And it is an in-your-face film filled of real-life situations, but I believe that really relate to anyone, no matter what ethnicity and background they come from. The Great Debaters, Denzel Washington in 2007, kind of follows the same, set in 1930s, but meets the youth or the student right where they are. This time I wanted to bring a collection of relative movies, empowerment to the underserved communities. You always hear about the negative, but I feel these films do a great job. So that's why I wanted to basically highlight these films, highlight the underserved community really well. Our June public figure of of the month is local to me, Groucho's Deli. Also expanded to other places, dynamic because of the backstory of how Groucho's came to be. Harold Groucho, most people called him Miller, came to Columbia, South Carolina in 1941 with a handful of recipes for potato salad, coleslaw, and various salad and sandwich dressings, most of which were thought up during his childhood in a Philadelphia orphanage. His humble beginnings, along with the idea that quality is the most important ingredient in a sandwich, some of where his story begins. In the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, Groucho's Deli established its reputation by serving its high-quality meats and cheeses. Famous sandwich dressing, Formula 45 sauce, was perfected in 1945, and original potato salad and coleslaw. Since 2000, again franchising and expanding, now celebrating 80 years. They are located in 25 locations here in South Carolina, 4 locations in North Carolina, and 2 locations in Georgia. If you're visiting, you should give them a try. All right, Fostered My Stories for the month of June. Got some exciting stuff coming up. So Underserved Community movie collection is Stand and Deliver, starring Edward James Olmos. It's based off the real life Jamie Escalante. Then you have Lean on Me, which is starring Morgan Freeman. Coach Carter, starring Samuel L. Jackson. You've seen him in a lot of Marvel movies. Freedom Riders, starring Hilary Swank, based on the real life teacher Erin Gruwell. And then you have The Great Debaters, starring Denzel Washington. The June public figure is Groucho's Deli, local to North and South Carolina, along with Georgia, and now celebrating 80 years. I think that's phenomenal. So 1941 it was established. Phenomenal backstory of Mr. Groucho, as they call him, Mr. Harold Groucho. Grew up in an orphanage, but didn't let his upbringing stop him to go on and become a dynamic leader in the community. If your upbringing, community service, or job connects you to the foster, adoption, orphan, or underserved community, I would love to chat at Chosen Child, that's CHOSENCHILD 1984 Facebook page. You can tune in next Wednesday at the new time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, via Red Circle Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Audible, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. To listen next Wednesday to my community guest, Melinda Grayson. And remember, being fostered, adopted, orphaned, or underserved simply means you're gracefully chosen. You have a phenomenal rest of your week. Take care.